All right. Hello, everyone. We'll wait for everyone to get into our webinar today before we get going. Hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas, enjoying the holidays.
That's what I got to do this week. Get ready for Christmas.
The numbers are still popping in here. Okay. All right. Well, hello and welcome. Thanks everyone for joining us on this webinar today, hosted by Foundant Technologies. We are very excited to share the key enhancements and some key functionality for our integrated solutions for Community Foundation. My name is Holly Spitz. I'm the accounting manager for Foundant Products. Today I'm joined by, in the webinar by Sky Weber, who's our CommunitySuite product owner. He's going to be demoing today for our catching up with releases, and I will be answering the chat. Before we begin, you'll notice we are using Zoom as the technology platform to run this event. If you have any questions during today's webinar, please open the box where you see Q&A icon and type in the questions there. Please note we will not be using the raise your hand or chat features today. And if there's a lot of the same questions, I'll probably interrupt Sky and we'll try to answer them live. Here is today's agenda. It is quite long. You'll see we're going to try our best to get through all of this, and we have a little nugget at the end about some releases that are coming we wanted to share with you as well. This slide depicts our mission, vision, and the values at Foundant. Some of you might recognize some pictures on that middle circle as they go through. These are some clients from Summit. This slide is a reminder to join our Compass, which is our peer-to-peer community, where you can ask questions and get some answers and connect with other foundations around the US and Canada. And we're going to be answering Q&A throughout the webinar. So we will be monitoring that Q&A chat. Don't forget that. I'm going to stop sharing, and Sky, it's time for you to take it away.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to our quarterly catching up with releases. So glad you guys are spending maybe your lunch breaks with us. Looks like people are still coming on. So I appreciate everybody coming and getting caught up. I am going to go ahead and maybe make this maybe just a little bit bigger. So hopefully that will help with viewing. I am going to go through things and then I'll pause, but feel free, like Holly said, to use that Q&A and pop in those questions, and we'll be pausing throughout the time to get through all of that. So, all right, I am going to start here in financials. So we added a few financial reports here. So you'll see some new reports added to this left-hand menu. So again, I'm using my quick menu across the top. And then I'm going to come down here to my account balance report. So this report, I'm just going to select today's date. This is going to give us all of our balance sheet accounts. With this report, you can add a filter and then add accounts. This is going to allow you to select any of your accounts listed on your balance sheet. So anything that's on your balance sheet, you'll be able to select from this drop down as you're filtering. So maybe I just want a report that's just going to show me my pool or my investment accounts or something like that. I could go ahead and then just select these reports, or excuse me, these accounts. So I'm going to apply that filter. So now you can see I have all of these accounts listed here. I can show my sub accounts on the left-hand side. So those menu options are still going to be valid. And then also I can show my funds. So maybe I want to see within this report, make this just a hair smaller for just this report here. So maybe within my pool account, I want to be able to see how those are broken down. I would be able to see that here. Or maybe it's my checking account. I want to see how many fund balances I have within that checking account or something like that. I would be able to see it. I also have some options here. So if I select edit options from my left-hand menu, I can go ahead and select maybe my fund group. So maybe I want to take this same investment report and then look at it by my fund group. So just some different ways that you can slice and dice your balance sheet if you want to just look at a small select number of accounts there. So I'm going to select back to my financials. The next report is very similar to the account balance, but instead of having my balance sheet accounts, this is going to be my income statement. So again, from this left-hand menu, account activity, I'm going to select this year as my date range. Again, I'm going to add filter from the left-hand menu, selecting account as my filter. And then again, check boxes so I could select the accounts that I want to. So this is great for maybe if you're wanting to look at your program or marketing, however you're breaking down your different financial reports. You could select just these accounts, apply that filter. Now you can see I have my accounts listed here. Again, I have the show funds, show sub funds. So I could again see those funds within each of my grant expense. I edit options. You're going to see you have different options there as well. So again, if I wanted to see these also broken into my columns with fund groups, I can also do that. So those are kind of these new account balance and account activity. One is for your balance sheet accounts. One is for your income statement accounts. So the next report I want to show you is your audit balance report. So this audit balance is here on the left-hand side, has a little briefcase next to it. And I'm going to select this year as my date range. This is going to show me right here, this is my QEVs by quarter. So my quarter ending values by quarter here. So as you see this, I can edit my options. So it's going to have my funds listed out and then those quarters. So I could also look at maybe just my principal by month. So maybe on my funds, I want to see them by month for this particular range. So here's all of my funds. And then all of the months listed out. So just different ways that you can take this. This is, again, just my principal balances. If I want to edit my options now and look at maybe my spendables for the months, I could do that as well. So just ways that you can grab those ending balances. If I edit my options again, you can see I can also group them by their fund groups, subgroups, divisions, and segments. So now I'm going to take that same information and group them together by their fund groups. So any questions, Holly, on financials or anything else maybe you want me to point out?
Nope,
So
not yet.
Okay, great. Those are just ways that you can quickly find that information for your quarter ending values. All right, let me go back to my home screen here. The next thing we're going to jump into is our vouchers. We made some updates to when we void the vouchers, we weren't able to see that on the voucher, or excuse me, when we voided checks, we weren't able to see that. So I'm going to jump into my checks menu here, just so we can pull up a voided check here. So I'm going to pull up one of my voided checks that I've been practicing with. So you can see this check is voided. If I click into my voucher ID, this is where you're going to see this new box. So anytime you're on a voucher and you wanted to see your void history, you'll be able to see where we've actually paid it and where that check was voided. So this is new to the voucher screen. Also from that voided payment on our bank reconciliations, if I jump into my home screen and then bank reconcile, I'm going to choose that operating account. You're going to see that my voids are now going to be displaying in red. So if I scan down, I think that was an October or November check here, you'll be able to see that it's in red now and it's the $0 here. So you'll be able to start checking those off a little bit easier and see those easily in your bank reconciliation. Another thing we added kind of in the vouchers area is allocation tables. So here in the accounting menu, you're going to see allocation tables. I have a couple set up. I'm going to pull up this 1035. You can see that I'm taking my rent. And when I put it on a voucher, I want it to split 80% to this rent management and 20% to this rent program. I do have the ability to put it all to one fund or to separate funds. So there are some flexibilities here. So I'm going to go back a screen here using that back arrow, and I'm going to hit create. And I'm just going to create a quick table. So you can put a fund in here or not. So this is an optional field. I'm going to go ahead and skip it. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is rent. Again, I'm going to select my management, put in a description and my percent, and do my next one. So I'm going to select my program. and do that 20%. So you'll see that it is adding here for us on our totals, and then I can hit create. I can now go to my vendor screen. So if I pull up one of my vendors, so I'm going to go to my home screen, or I could search up here. So maybe I'm going to pull up that OG&E electric company that I was paying. I could come here, and then I could go to their vendor tab, and I could set that allocation table. So this would be something that you want to do. So when anytime I pull up OG&E, it's going to go ahead and populate that allocation table for me. So I'm going to select edit, and I'm going to go ahead and select that demo allocation. So you'll see that. I'm going to hit save there. So now on my vendor tab, so I'm on my vendor profile, you can see that I have this allocation table. I'm going to go back to my home screen, and I like to start my vouchers from my vouchers. So I'm going to, in my accounting column, go into vouchers. On the left-hand side, I'm going to select create, and we're going to pull up that same vendor, OG&E. From here, you can see that that demo allocation table has already populated for me. So it is going to save me some time here. I'm going to put today's date in. And then once I select the amount of my allocation or my voucher amount for that month, you're going to see that it's automatically going to populate down here below. So this is where I can now put in my fund. And then my memo line for my check. And then if I needed to, if I was like, oh, on this particular voucher, it needs to be 300 and 200, I could change it here. It's still going to allow you to do that change here if you needed to. So it's also, you can see that we've added the total column to our voucher process, and then I'm going to hit save. From this point, I could go ahead, approve, and all of that, but that is our allocation tables and the void on our checks. Any questions to this point?
Actually is one. It says not
Okay.
related to this voucher allocations, but is there a way that the default account on a vendor can auto-populate as the account on a voucher?
Oh, that's a great question. That's something I can take to the developers for sure, that when you're putting that default account that it automatically populates. Yeah, sure. We can, give me a second, let me write that down.
Well, I can write it, Sky. You can keep
That's okay.
going.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And yes, and somebody just asked, the updates we're showing right now are available in your live site. So as long as you have the permissions to see them, these are all there and available in your live site. This allocation table is also going to help those of you who want to create your statement of functional expense right in the system and not have to export data out into Excel. That's hoping to, this is hoping to help you with that. So it's going to be use case.
Great. All right. We did a few updates on profiles this last quarter. So if I come into profiles, I'm going to go ahead and search for my own profile. So here I can see I don't have any profile links, so I'm going to add a link. So I'm going to link my profile. So we've added now, let me put in a vendor here. On our profile links, that same date functionality that we had with org roles. So I could say that maybe I am, I don't know if you'd want to track husband or niece or anything like that, but I'll just say board chair. And I could use this more as not just a profile link, but it could be a relationship link, let's say, and then add this as an organization. And then I could add my start and my end date and create that. It's now going to populate here on my profile. So you can see here, your relationship now has the date range on it from that profile link. And then you can also use those org links too, if that's how you were using those. Another thing we did in profiles was our settings. So if I come back to my profiles main area, here under settings, you can require the different fields as you're creating a profile that is required. So I could edit my settings and say, anytime I'm creating a profile, I don't want them to be able to save it without their address in there. So these are optionals that you can turn on within settings.
Okay, there is a question here that says, oh, sorry, go ahead. You finish this and then we'll go back.
Yep,
because it was a
that's really
profile.
it on the profiles. Yep.
Okay, okay. They're wondering if they're able to edit that role list. And we
On
can,
the profiles?
Right? Mm-hmm. Can you show where?
Yeah, so from your org roles and profile links, you can add those however you want those to be. Name them whatever you want. So add a profile link, and I can call this you're my work friend. So I can add that. So you can add those profile links. You can call them whatever you would like here. So same with org roles. So again, that was from profiles. And then on the left-hand side, let me just go in from home screen. And then profiles, and then org and profile links here.
Yeah. And then there's another question on that required field. Does it mean when a profile is being edited that it's also required?
Yes. Yep. So anytime you're trying to save it, those need to be completed.
Yeah. And then
it does not, if you're importing like from donations or something like that, it's not going to hit those same requirements. So I will say that.
Okay. Ready to go.
Okay. Awesome. All right. The next thing we did was in notes. Here under notes, if you're needing to delete some notes, you can come in and bulk delete notes by adding a filter report. So I'm going to select filter report on the left-hand menu. I'm going to add a filter, and I'm going to filter this one by fund. I'm going to use my check boxes so I can check the fund. So again, maybe the fund closed or something. Oops. See if maybe select a couple of extra ones here. All right, so I could take these notes here and then select delete notes. And then it's going to say, do you really want to do this? This is going to permanently, and then yes. So that is the work we did for bulk deleting notes. So again, you can filter by different ways. You're created by employee, task type, so there's different ways to filter. Okay, we're going to keep moving.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I interrupt you
Sure.
one more time? So when you require fields, what happens with the bulk donation uploads? Those fields would have to be included, correct?
No, it's not going to hold those requirements. That's what I'm saying is from the imports, you could still get by without having an address if that was a required field.
However, if you ever edited that profile, then you would be required to have that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then someone asked that your screen looks different. So like on your profile and your notes.
I forgot to turn that off.
Explain that. Yeah, let's explain that.
Okay, yes, sorry. So we are testing some different things and I forgot to shut that off. You're going to start to see it. I'll show you at the end. We'll talk about campaigns and we're going to kind of look at this new tabs. This is not how profiles is going to be laid out at all. It was just a sample to see what it would look like. So at the end of this webinar, we'll look at the campaigns and I'll show you a little bit how our tabs are going to be revamped. So again, we're just trying to clean up this left-hand menu and our action items and make this a little more easy when processing profiles, campaigns, funds, things like that. So just kind of a makeover a little bit in C-Suite is what we're moving towards in 2023.
Yes. And can you bulk delete notes?
Yes, that's what that was. But it has to be from a filter. Yes, it has to be from filtered.
Can we do it with an uploaded list of? No. It would have to be a filter.
Any of your notes here, as long as you can filter them down, you have to have at least one filter, and then it will allow you to bulk.
And then allow you to bulk. Yep. I'm not sure. Hopefully that answered the questions because it's not an uploaded list. It's just a filtered list that we bulk delete.
Yes.
It's not a option in custom report. If you how you can upload those IDs. This is I'm trying to think it. We wonder.
Yeah. I think that action item, once you have do my note ID here. I think once you maybe had, So you could delete them
you can.
From the action item.
Thank you. There's so many ways to go about it that, so it is the same.
Yeah.
Thanks. Great question, Chris.
Okay. All right. So that's notes. we're going to move to accounts. So this will apply to some of you that maybe are using multi-currency. So once you create an account, so let's say maybe I'm going to have a Canadian account. Oh, I guess I need to put an actual account number here. Let me put a number. So I'm going to choose my bank account here. So once I have this new account listed out here, I can edit and change the currency on it and make this just Canadian dollars. So if you have a Canadian or Australian dollars, you can change that at the account level. And then that's going to create some different options for when you're creating vouchers and grants. You're going to see the multi-currency, the US dollar or the Canadian. So again, that will not be enabled until you come and set up an account with a foreign currency from your home currency. Okay. Distributions. We did add here in distributions another type, which was distributions by net earnings. So if I create my type, so again, if I just have a flat percent or quarter, average per quarter, average per year, I could select that. I'm just going to select this percent here. And then my calculation base can now be my total net assets. So that is a new option for us. So you can save that and then apply that to your funds. So that is an option. Under grants, we have the new award letter that has been released. So if I come into grants and create a grant, put in my grant date. And complete any information. This is where you can see that US dollar, Canadian dollar. So I have that Canadian account. So it's going to be displaying here. If you don't have an account that has a foreign currency, you will not see this displayed. So just wanted to point that out. And then we select a fund here. So this is where I can say that I do need a grant award letter. I can also select a template. There are bulk options in that bucket too. So if I wanted to choose a different award letter, I could. So I can select create here. Once I come back out to my list here, you're going to see once it's in the new bucket, it does create this award letter also. So you can come out here, you can email your grant award letters, you can print them, mark them as sent in bulk, and send them or set the award letter template. So if I needed to change it for a group of them, I could do that here in bulk. So yep, so I can go ahead and then process this. I'm going to select this grant just so you can see it is going to have these options here on the grant as well. So if I need to clear this sent, I can do it on the individual grant itself. I can mark it as sent or print that PDF from here, download it into Word, email it, all from that individual grant. So. And here's just my sample letter so you can see that is populated now. And then as you move through your grant, you're going to be able to see those grant award letters are going to go ahead and automatically attach down at the bottom. So I can see that I can download it in Word still, and I can also have my grant award letter in the PDF. So I know right now, oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say right now we don't have the multi-fund grant letter. That is coming in the next quarter. So we are working on that. So this was just kind of our first iteration.
Yeah.
Yes, Holly.
So this, yep, the difference, there are a lot of questions about what is the difference between the grant award letter and our grant letter that currently exists. So the grant award letter is something that you can send before the check is created. So maybe notifying your grantee of an award. This is now an option in CommunitySuite. The old award letter is staying. It's going to be called a document, but that old letter is still there. What else is happening?
Yes. If the grant, so this was to help with functionality too. So if you're integrating from GLM, you can create that grant award letter with your fund and all of that from C-Suite and get those sent out. So yeah, that functionality was there to help with that integration with GLM as well. So yes, so it will work with that functionality if you are sending grants over from GLM. So you're right. This grant award letter is just to say, hey, you're getting this award. It does not have any of the check payment information on the grant award letter. So it's not any of the merge fields that you can do like you can a grant letter. So the grant letters are still going to process once you pay your checks and post them, then they'll land in this document bucket. So you're going to see two different buckets, the award letter bucket, which will be, again, before payment, and then your document bucket will be after payment. So you can add check information and things like that.
Yes. And then there's a question. If the grants come from GLM, will we be able to do the award letter as well?
Yeah.
Yes, as long as it lands, once it's created in the new bucket, you can create
Yes.
the award letter. And then there's a question, will we be able to delete the automatically created attached files? So if they want to edit the letter and upload it.
And upload a new one?
A new one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can delete them. Yeah, you can right here on the left, delete. So if you want to delete the Word doc and then upload a new one, yes.
Okay, perfect. There is not an option to completely turn off this functionality. You just don't, as long as you don't have a template, right, then you don't have to.
You can just mark them all as sent too. So
the functionality is not currently here for scholarship award letters, but it's coming next quarter.
Yes.
We're gonna do it next quarter, as well as add the multi-fund option for these award letters. And when will the document tab show in live? It should show in live now as soon as you upload a template.
No, the documents tab won't come until we release check workflow. So that will all come with that check workflow. So that will be in the January
document
release.
Tab. Yes, sorry, yes, I'm thinking award letter.
Yes,
grant award letter is here.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. All right. Is that everything kind of on the grants?
Yep. Can they do the award letters in batch? Yes.
Yep.
Right here.
So here, if I want to email them, yeah, I'm not sure if this one has an email on it. So if I wanted to print them all in batch, you're going to get that same option to do them all or select them. So all the same batch functionality.
All right. Somebody is asking about, can you show us how the bulk mail merge works in the documents bucket?
Let's come back to that because that's not released in live yet.
Yeah. So okay,
yep,
we'll come back to that one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The original,
but it's going to be the same functionality. I mean, the bulk actions is still going to be the same functionality. Yep.
Yes, and as soon as we release the new check functionality, the document grant letter will also auto attach.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've got it all.
Okay, so yeah, it'll be that send documents and then you'll go into your batch and it will work email from there. So, okay. Let's see, let's go to the donation portal. So if I go into donations and then select our donation portal here, you can now see as I donate. So let me do a quick donation here. All righty, continue on here. Continue one more time. You're going to now see in our checkout process that you have the ability. So this is something that you'll need to turn on, excuse me, in Stripe to have this US bank account. So you'll have to go into your payment methods and then enable the US bank accounts, those debits. So if you want to turn that on in your Stripe account, you can do that under payment methods. So that is an option now that will display on the donation portal. So that is new, but again, that will require some setup on the Stripe side as well. So, but it is functionality now in C-Suite. Another thing we did was in funds. So if I come into fund.
Can you make the screen bigger?
Sure.
Okay. Request.
Is that good?
Probably better. Yep.
Okay. So if I select my fund here, excuse me, you can now see on the left-hand side, we have this copy feature. So if I select copy, so I have all the things that this fund is, I need to just create a new fund and rename it. So this could be my, okay, so the names, the short names, public names are not going to come across when you create or copy, excuse me, the new fund. But all of your groups, subgroups, divisions, if you had a segment, it would be in here. If it was a sub fund, it would come over. All of your temporarily restricted, permanently restricted, all of that will come over. So you can see you're going to get a pretty good copy besides the name, the fund summaries, things like that, that you'll need to go ahead and populate. But that is your new copy feature. So then I can just hit create. And then I have a new fund that is my new copy demo. So hopefully that copy feature will be good. You will still need to set your grant approvers, things like that for those funds. Another thing we did in funds was when you close a fund, I'm going to go into this fund that called close fund. I'm going to select a balance sheet just so you can see this fund balance is 0, as you noticed. So you can see that it has a principal balance, a default, and available balance. So everything still nets to 0. In C-Suite, you could not close that fund, right? You had to go in and do the journal entry, figure out what needed to be closed into each other, and get that taken care of. So now we have changed that to where it will automatically do that journal entry for you. So if I go ahead and say, oops, what is that? You see that? What is that? Oh my. Okay, so and now if I come here on the fund and select close, and then pick today's date or whatever date I need to close it on, I can close the fund and it's going to go ahead and automatically do those journal entries for me. So now when I come in here, you can see my principal balance and my spendable balance is taken care of. If I run that same balance sheet report for today, you're going to see that all of those have collapsed into each other. So that journal entry is now working, which will be fabulous. All right. Another thing we did a webinar back in December or November. We talked about the 1099 report. So this is a new menu option. You can add that date. We did come in based on the feedback and add divisions. So if you were having affiliates, things like that, that you were needing to print, your 1099 separate for, we did add that to where you could separate those out by your division. So that functionality will be new as well. So let me see if I do January. And then you can select your miscellaneous or your NEC and create your report here, and then export this and upload it into whatever process you're using to print your 1099s.
Yeah, so it is important to know on 1099s, you have to set that 1099 account guy at the account level. And you could also then, yep.
Let me go ahead and do that. Sorry, thanks for pointing that out. On the expense account, you would need to come in and say, I know grant expense wouldn't be one, so let me select something else here. So maybe rent management. I would want to make sure that I hit edit and have it in a 1099 and what box you want that filled out in.
Yeah. So if you use any of the numbers, that's going to generate that 1099 miscellaneous, and all those boxes relate to something specific. If you click on that question mark on that IRS field, you can get to the IRS directions. And then if it's an NEC 1099, just click the NEC. And then you can also, on the vendor level, say that it needs a 1099.
Yep, so we'll jump over to, I just searched that up in the search bar, my vendor that we were using earlier, OG&E. So the next thing we can do is edit this and mark it as a 1099. So then that way it's going to display on that report for us.
Correct. And if it's an individual with a social security number, yes, those are masked. That was a question.
Okay.
Let's see, what else? We do not currently have a 1099-R option. And it says, how does that part work when you set allocations? You would set all the rent accounts for 1099? Yes. Yes. As long, I mean, you can have both things on that account level. And it is important to note, this is a little different than some other systems, that when you enter that voucher, if there is a part of that expense entry that is not should not be included in the 1099, you would have to have a separate account. So we always suggest for something like professional fees, have one that's a 1099 account and one that's not 1099. So you would not put that need 1099 on there, and it would not be included in that total. So, okay. So that, I believe, are the questions there.
Okay.
Going back to the close of fund, though, there was a question that if there's a dual approval, they have approval level set.
It
They
will,
do
it will
not follow
automatically
that
process it. Yeah,
because it's
it will-
$0
Yes.
or okay.
Mm.
And the fund balance accounts, so those net asset accounts are the ones that have to equal 0 for that time. So that's for the closing question.
Yes.
And then somebody asked, as long as 1099 is marked on the profile, it will appear on the 1099 report, ? Even if we don't have 1099 set on the account?
Yes, it should still appear.
It just won't be in one of the columns with
Yep.
the numbers. Correct. Will the report go back and update if you realize you missed a vendor or an account and go back? Yes,
Yes.
it will. So you can do it now and update the account and the vendor, and it will populate. So correct. All right. And I think we're good.
And April, on her
Yeah.
question, is the functionality available for grant letters, not award letters, to be generated before the check is printed? No, that will be your grant award letter. The grant letters have all of your payment information on them if you want them to have it. So those are tied to the check ID.
Correct. So really two different purposes for those.
Yes.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing is, let me dive into my little donor report here. So if I go into my donor tab here, I'm going to show you the yearly tax receipt stuff we did. So if I click into yearly tax receipt, so I have my start and end date. So again, if I'm running one for this year, I now have the ability to include public securities in my total on my report or to not include them. So they would still be listed on your report, but you could decide to add them in your total or not. So I'm going to go ahead and leave them not included in my total. So I'm just going to hit submit, and then I'm going to print a PDF for us. You can see I'm a really big donor. So you can see here I have this public securities for 50 shares. It's not added into my total, but it is in my list. So if I go back and check this box now and select my PDF, it's now going to be included. So that total should be increased on my report here. So this will add any of my public securities here. So that's an option now on your yearly tax receipt. So just make sure that you know that this included in public securities total, it's defaulting to not including it. So if you want it included, make sure you click that box there. Just kind of some housekeeping things we did. The cash management we changed where it used to say balance swaps. It now just says cash management. So this will take you into that cash management area. And then you'll still see your balance swaps for your individual funds. So if you click into your balance swaps here, so just to take some of that confusion off of kind of the same name there in the balance swap area.
Yeah.
We also, yes.
Oh, just a couple of questions before we get too far ahead. One on the yearly tax receipt. Somebody said can the yearly, and then they didn't answer. So if you want to, or they didn't finish that thought, but you can do those in bulk. So I want to make sure we know that is something that if you have a filtered list of profiles, you can send and create those yearly tax receipts in bulk. Somebody asked, why would we include or exclude this? So I'm assuming that's the public securities option. So it was a request to have the public securities at least be listed. Because that's a non-cash item, that's why it's not included in the total, but it is something you could include. So they, can check with their tax advisors or your donors to, value that. You know what your value is, but it's up to the taxpayer themselves to value that donation. And let's see what else. Anything with mid-year go live clients that they need to be aware of for the full calendar year tax receipt. If your donation history came in mid-year, it still should populate that tax receipt.
Yeah, it should be fine on your tax receipts.
Yes, yes. Is there a way to process monthly donations on one tax receipt at the end of the year? No, there's not. It's going to list each individual tax receipt, not a sum of the months. And can a yearly tax receipt have a subtotal for securities if they're included in the listing? Not currently, they're going to be just in the list, but they're not going to be included. I think you could
maybe do some if statements and create that within your template. That would be something, you might be able to say, if it's a public security, add it to I don't know. That would not currently is it set for us to be able to do.
Yes, it would be if you can do that with the word mail merge option.
Yeah.
Something talking about the zeros in the yearly tax receipts about totals that they don't look right. We'll look into that. We'll put that one on our
list
to look at.
Okay.
And there's some going back to the Stripe. So that ACH functionality for donations, it's just the ability to have your donors pay with ACH functionality.
Yep. So
it's not changing, it's not changing anything in the processing of the donations within CommunitySuite.
The one thing that it does change is that if the ACH payments are not going to automatically post to your till, because they're probably not going to come over with a fee, because the fee may take a couple of days for it to get processed. So if I do this full, I'm just going to do a test institution here. So it should land now in my till. It may, again, if the bank takes a couple of days to process, it may take a couple of days for it to hit in your till, but it will not auto post. It's going to give you the ability to, oops, it's not here yet. So it's going to land here under this stripe here where you can hit reconcile and then say, it had a $3 fee or a 30-cent fee or whatever. So it will land here. So the way Stripe works now is if it doesn't have a fee, it's going to land in this other payments, and then you can put whatever the fee amount is. We're also, one thing we did with that profile payment is if you look into it, it's going to have a link directly back into your Stripe account. So you can link right into that Stripe and see what the fees were. So it would be a direct kind of webhook back into that. So I don't know if I answered that. So a little bit different process.
So we'll have to manually add the fee and deposit from the till. And yes, the bank account information stays in Stripe, which is what we like. It's more secure. Stripe owns that. It has all the PCI compliance. And going back a little bit, yes, you can edit a current vendor to need the 1099 box. So,
okay.
And there are options for the donor to cover the fee on an ACH, just like credit card.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you will have to manually enter those fees just because Stripe doesn't send those over, because it may be a little bit further process, like it may be a couple of days before that bank responds.
Yeah, and the funds are sent to your bank. How do they know when the funds are sent to their bank account? That is something that you can go into your Stripe account and you can get an email sent to you, a notification when they make a deposit. So that would be the best way to get notified of that. And yes, I would only deposit from the till once it's set to the bank. That would be my advice.
Mm-hmm.
And you can lump them together if there's 5 in a day, just as if it would deposit into your account. And who determines that fee rate? If you go to Stripe, there is accept ACH payment article on Stripe, so it's their fee rate that's in there. So they are the ones that determine the fee. think I answered everything. There's a lot of it. I'll go through as you keep going and I'll make sure
Okay.
we answered everything.
Okay, awesome. Just a couple of quick things here. So under systems data, you'll see now that you can sync your sandbox here. So if I come into sync sandbox, you're going to see mine is disabled. So I would have to contact support. So if you happen to have be in training or something like that, your sandbox sync may be disabled, but mine is just because I don't want anybody syncing my sandbox right now. So, but it will tell you the last time that it was synced and who did it. So you'll be able to see that very clearly. So if somebody's already done the sync that morning, you may not need to sync your site again that day. So just giving some visibility into that. Another thing under accounts payable, under your historical AP, we wanted to build out as people start to get ready for their audits and year-end footnotes and all of that. You'll be able to see here the accounts payable, grants payable. Here's our future payments broken out. And again, for our scholarships. So that's under the history report and accounts payable. If I go into accounts receivable, you're also going to see that same historical AR functionality here. So again, I'm going to just select a date, and then you'll be able to see your pledge receivables, anything that is past due. So if I had payments that were due in 2021, those will land in the current year. So hoping that you collect them in that current year. So those are kind of the two AP and AR reports that we added. Excuse me. Just want to give you a quick heads up on that. That should help with some reporting at end of year. So, okay, do we have a bunch of questions we need to go through?
Will those ACH payments still get an online tax receipt? Yes.
Yes.
Just like credit cards. So yes, that's right.
Yep. The payment method is the only thing that's changed on that. For that.
And yeah, correct. And the fee post, yes, you will see the fee in your Stripe account. So you would have to log into your Stripe account to see those fees. And there is that direct link. So you can go back and look at it if you have access to the Stripe account. You also have to be a user there. So, okay, I think we're good now. Okay,
just a couple of things that I released in the sandbox yesterday. So if you didn't see the shout out, we did release a couple of things. These are only in the sandbox. Again, we're going to start releasing in 2023. Anything that's going to release the next month, we're going to release 2 weeks prior in the sandbox. So just know that we'll probably release those on Monday unless there's a holiday, and then we'll notify you if we're going to release on that Friday or Tuesday prior. So just so you know, we released several things yesterday in the sandbox. Under donations, we did some work. So these will be our January releases. So this will be in your live site in January, along with that new check workflow and the grant letter work. So that will all be in your live site in January. So I'm not going to cover the new check workflow because we had a whole webinar on that. So if you need a refresher on that, feel free to grab that webinar and look at that process. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just select one of my donations here. I'm just going to select one. On the left-hand side, you're going to see that I have the copy ability for donations. So this is going to give you the functionality that you have been wanting, that copy donation. It's not going to copy the date, but it will copy any campaigns, service areas, things like that, that you may have filled out on your donation. That will all populate in. So the amount comes over. Again, you'll want to make sure you change that donation date to whatever the day is, and then whatever your payment method is. And then process that. So easy way to copy your donations now. So just that copy, and then go ahead. The same posting will process. If you can create them but can't post them, that functionality is still there for you. So that is copy a donation. I can also, let me go back into that same donation, add a soft credit. So if I go back into this edit mode, I could add Holly. Sorry, Holly, I don't have you in my site. And let me see, maybe do Corey. So I could just keep adding soft credits to this particular donation. And then within custom reporting, you'll be able to report on any custom report. Soft credits. So that will be in the custom report area. Another thing that maybe you noticed as I was processing a donation is that the fund has jumped up a little bit on the site. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but the fund is now up here under amount. So this is going to help us with our make a multi-fund donation. So here on the left-hand side, we're going to make a multi-fund donation. So if I want to add a amount here, so I'm going to select my fundraising here. So I'm going to select my fund and the amount for this donation. And then my operating fund is going to be my other fund. I'm going to add another amount. Add my check. So this will be for check, other payment, and stock payment methods only. And then process. Again, you can fill out all of those other additional fields, but for sake of time, this is going to land you back in that profile payment because it still does create two separate profile payments just because of the donations hitting two separate funds. You can post now here from this menu option. If I wanted to post each one of these, I could still come back into donations and use that bulk process and post all here too. So again, if I'm someone who can create them but not post them, I can still select that post all and post all of those profile payments together. So that is the three things that we've updated in donations for this next month. Another thing we added was envelope templates. So under systems data and under templates, you're going to now see an envelope template. So you can start building out, this new Microsoft. Okay, so you can start building out your envelope templates. Again, that's going to be in your sandbox environment. So any questions on any of that stuff that I've?
Yes. Okay, so can we talk about the difference between a soft credit and a donation advisor?
Yep. So the soft credit is just going to be for you to have for reporting purposes. It's not going to be any tax implications at all, right? So you're not going to be able to send a tax receipt or a thank you letter from anything that has a soft credit on it. So maybe it's, I don't know, the United Way, and you have several employees that have donated and you wanted to maybe track those employee names. So as long as it's a profile in the system, you can add it as soft credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is it. Are we going to be able to import multi-fund donations? I'm actually not sure the answer to that one.
Not currently.
Okay. And there was someone who said, I'm guessing you already explained the drop down of fundraising and gifts. I came in late. I'm guessing that's.
Oh, sorry. That was just my
type.
donation type. You may not have those set up in your site. So I just have those set up within donations. It's a way that you can control your revenue where it's hitting on your income statement. So here under donation types, I've just got a couple set up. So I have a fundraising one and a gift one because I have my donations where they hit two different areas.
Yeah, so it's a way you can use that in reporting as well. If you want to track different types of donations that's not available in a donation record, and they still could go all to the same account, revenue account, or it's a way to post them to different. So a couple multi-uses there. Somebody asked about how to record a cash donation. And so there is a payment type. We always suggest in training to use a payment type of check and just put cash in the check number field, and then you could report on that. You could also, this would be another good use case of donation posting. You could have cash and then what revenue account to post to it so that you could report on that.
I'm going to show that AR report again.
Okay.
Under accounts receivable here, on the left-hand menu, that historical AR. And then I'm just going to select a date, and then you'll see my pledge receivable. So again, accounts receivable, historical AR.
Soft credits, are they going to appear in the profile history?
No.
No, not currently.
Nope.
Okay. So I thought there, I want to confirm that. Oh my goodness, I'm kind of losing where we're going. I think one thing, can you show them where to get to release notes? Somebody asked, is there going to be a document about everything we talked about today? And that is really your release notes.
Yep. So here under the little present across the top, you'll see your CommunitySuite release notes. So this is going to have all of that information here. We also have been adding videos, so you can jump right into, if it's the grant award letter, you can see the video here along with any of the help articles with that. Also anything that's going to be coming soon. So like the envelopes, things like that, that's all going to be here, and it's going to say now available in your sandbox environment. So if you're not sure, it will say now available. So again, there'll be a shout out posted that you'll know that we've released things into your sandbox. So
And in this list, the new check workflow, does that have our webinar included? Do you know? Can you look? But all the videos are there. So it's probably the best way to go right there. There's an overview for all the 3 different options of processing checks. So somebody asked about that. The other way to get to past videos and webinars is that 9-dot icon up at the top next to the release notes. Are we still able to attach documents to the gift, and if we attach it to one gift, will it show on all? Like for that profile payment? No, however, the profile payment is a link in every donation record, so you could click on that and get back to the profile payment with the attachment. Question on a multi-fund gift, are we using that instead of create payment? Yeah, you could go either way, but yes, it's just an easier way to enter multi-fund donation. And for envelopes, do we have to create a template for grant check envelopes, or will the default envelope still populate?
The default will still populate.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we can make it through everything.
And it said had an issue of running grant letters by batch in Word format in the new check process. We did update that.
Yes.
Right? I'm pretty sure we did. Okay.
Yes.
So that should be working now if you go back and try that workflow.
All right, so we covered a lot of ground here today. I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek of what's being released in your sandbox as well. So thanks for letting us diverge. I'm going to show you a quick 2-minute look into campaigns, just to let you know, because since you saw my tabs, and I forget sometimes to shut off my future state of C-Suite. So under campaigns, you're going to see we have these types. So you're going to be able to create types within your campaign. So if it's going to be an event or just a mailing list, you'll be able to create those different types and then have them kind of be a hierarchy for your different groups. So that's going to be kind of the first change that you're going to notice when you come into this. If I go into my list, this is going to be a list of my campaigns that I currently have. So again, we'll start to have this released. I'm assuming our goal is to have this released in your sandboxes the last part of January. We're still finishing up work this kind of 2-week sprint that we're in right now, but this is kind of the backbones of what we've gotten. We're going to have that tab situation at the top. This is going to be the new main page here. So we're going to add that goal amount. We've added your total donations, total pledges, your total invoices. If you have tickets enabled, you're going to get this pop up here. So if you're not using tickets, you're not going to see that functionality. We also have the total seats available, so you can track it from this main page, or you can track it based on your individual tickets. Your total ticket sales, your RSVPs, attended. So all of this functionality is going to be here. You can see as I click into tickets, you're going to see the add a ticket, sell a ticket. So really cleaning up that left-hand menu to help with that functionality. So you can see how many tickets have been sold. I can go into that table sponsorship here. You're now going to see that you can have a non-donation revenue account, and you can also have a revenue account. So I think that will be really great. So if you have that ticket that's kind of split in donation and the non-donation, you'll be able to set that per ticket. You'll also be able to have your own tax receipt per ticket. So that will be new functionality, and a start and end date on a ticket. So if it's past the end date, that ticket will no longer be displaying. So just a few things, and you can also set a different fund on a ticket. So kind of the highlights of campaigns. I'm excited. We'll be doing a webinar in January. So Kevin Lundy and I will be doing our January. We'll walk through just like we did the check workflow. We'll be doing that with campaigns once we have it a little more finished out. So excited about it.
Yes, and we're planning on releasing this in February.
Yes.
If all goes well. As long as we get some positive feedback and that is our current goal. And somebody said thanks for all the updates, so we appreciate it. There is a lot of work that goes into this, so we really appreciate it. We appreciate all your feedback, always, always, always. And let's see. Somebody was still wondering if we could show how the bulk mail merge works in documents bucket. So I think it's going to be similar. It's going to be that new check workflow. Could you show them real quick before we log off out of here?
All right. Yeah. So if people have to leave, thanks for stopping in. So just the
Yes.
send documents, I'm not sure. So this will be my batch, still going to work by a check batch ID, and then you print documents, download documents, or email them from here. So it'll still be working within a batch. So if I had more in my check batch, there would be more populated here. So I'm not sure if that's what they're asking for. So then I could still download my documents.
That's what I'm thinking. So
Okay.
hopefully it was an anonymous attendee. So perfect.
Okay.
Can you,
awesome.
Are we going to be able to run spreadsheets for RSVPs? I think everything's exportable, correct?
Yep. Yep. We're still working on the RSVP. That's the work that we're not quite done with. Yep.
Yeah. A couple of people.
Another thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Kind of a little bit different in that profile section is we added a different way to filter also your profiles. I know people are like, listen, you're over. I'm so sorry. There's just so much great stuff that I'm so excited. Again, we'll be doing a big webinar on this. So on your profiles too, you'll be able to just type in your guest here. So if you're working off of a list of attendees, you can just check down and say yes or no that they've attended. You can see their guest and things like that. So remove their guest, things like that from that individual doing that search. We also changed the functionality with the add a household, individuals within a household. We added another option too for when you're doing those adding into a campaign. So lots of great things coming with campaigns. So hopefully that will be really great functionality for our clients. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry.
All
we
right.
ran
Thanks,
2 minutes
everybody.
over. Thanks for everyone for stopping in.
Happy holidays. All right. I think we can end this one.